It's time for Pawn of the Dead. Join us!
Hello and welcome back to Pawn of the Dead, the internet horror film club that nobody asked for. I am your humble curator, Nicholas.
And I am your final girl, Natasha. On this week's episode, we are going to discuss The Collector.
I run a smooth operation out here. I pick the jobs, you pick the locks. We pick up the prize together. That's a routine. You need me to think about that woman of yours and that little pretty girl of yours. And you've been casing that family's house for months. You think the family is going out of town. You found the safe. Now, what was that request of yours?
We settled tonight.
My family's in here. You can save them.
The Collector is a 2009 American horror film written by Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan, also directed by Dunstan, and starring Josh Stewart. This film follows a handyman who decides to rob a house to pay off a debt, only to find somebody far more sinister has already broken in and rigged many, many traps.
Yeah, so this coming in for this week's homework and stuff. What is your history with this film, if you have any?
I had no history. I can't even quite remember how we stumbled upon this, but the cover looked really cool.
Yeah, the my history. This is a first time watch for me.
Mhm.
I'd heard about it for a long time. I'd seen the cover of it. I knew there was a sequel to it, all that stuff. And then to find out like it's from the producers of Saw. I was like, oh, okay. Like after watching this, I was like, I can see that.
Yeah.
And then of its era and everything, it has that green color grading that
Sure does.
that we pick up so much in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a first time watch for me. I found like a used DVD copy at my local shop that I completely just pilfer through and find horror films all the time. And I was like, oh, well, I found this. I've heard about it a lot. We'll just push this up into the list because I do know that there is a pretty big fan base for this film.
Okay.
I brought it to the table because I knew it was like a home invasion film as well. And that's your thing.
Yeah. This was a weird take on a home invasion, though, because it was a home invader also trying to evade a home invader.
It's kind of like Spy versus Spy.
Yes. I got that a lot with like the overhead
Yes.
like camera angles.
Very Spy versus Spy. It also has like pretty early on in the film, I took a note that says Home Alone meets Saw.
Yeah,
Like,
also
this
that.
very much has that. It's like the Kevin McAllister legacy sequel.
Aw.
You know? So yeah, this is like it's before we get into everything, like it was not what I expected,
Likewise.
but what I ultimately got for myself anyhow was like an enjoyable 90 minutes.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yes, it was. So, this came out 2009. We've covered this recently this year, but I'll go through it. This was the year that The Uninvited, Last House on the Left, Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie one, Drag Me to Hell, The Unborn, My Bloody Valentine, The Haunting in Connecticut, Friday the 13th, The Final Destination, and the number one film, horror film for that year was Paranormal Activity. So this came out around that time. Also, for the other people that aren't the nasty cellar dwellers that are us, was like watching these kind of movies and stuff. Top 10 films were The Hangover, Angels and Demons, Sherlock Holmes, Twilight Saga: New Moon, Up, 2012, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs, Harry Potter, and The Half-Blood Prince only gets second place because womp womp, Avatar gets the number one spot. So that's where we are in the universe for our movies. That being said, what do you think its budget was?
Big one. I think this movie was made for $8.7 million.
Sweet Jesus. This movie was made for $3 million.
Wow. Okay.
So does that give you a different appreciation for it being $3 million?
Let's be real. I already appreciated this movie.
Oh, cool. All right. So, something that's kind of interesting was Dimension Films. So you may know that name from like Scream and the like, were the ones that initially were funding this.
Okay.
And then they had like budget constraints and they were tight on money and stuff. So they kind of like let it go and another company brought it out. There's some interesting stuff going on with the soundtrack in this film and the intro. Okay. The intro for this movie is straight up like Seven, but Seven's intro is industrial because it's Nine Inch Nails, but I believe it's Combi Christ, so like more recent industrial. And then you're getting songs by Depeche Mode, Bauhaus, Einstürzende Neubauten, which is like an industrial noise group. Korn has a needle drop in this. There's a song, the song Dead Bodies Everywhere shows up as the Collector shows up.
Okay, it's fitting.
It sounds like a music box kind of.
Oh, okay.
So when that happened, I was like, what a perfect needle drop. The song's called Dead Bodies Everywhere, and our serial killer kind of guy has made his entrance into the movie. And I was like,
Nifty.
that works. So, The Collector is kind of based on like urban legends and stuff like that. It's kind of like a catch-all legend for creepy hermetic neighbors that may be doing something horrifying inside their dungeon-like basements.
Like the guy in Russia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The most common collector legend is the neighbor who collects human body parts and proudly displays them in mason jars. In Russia, the collector urban legend has a bright future because it played out in real life. Its new mascot is local Russian historian Anatoly Moskvin, if I mispronounced that, I'm sorry, who stole corpses from cemeteries in dozens of towns east of Moscow. According to the police, he dug up at least 29 corpses and made dolls out of them. Life-size, faceless female dolls with platinum blonde wigs.
Creepy.
So there's a whole thing for you to dig into, Tasha. You like the true crime-ness?
I've actually heard of him.
Okay.
In something before this. I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but it was a story about him and a story about a doctor who took bodies and then fashioned like book covers out of skin.
Sweet.
People are weird.
we are a weird amalgamation of problems.
Yeah.
So on its $3 million budget, what do you think it ended up bringing in?
Was this a mass release? I don't remember it.
It did have a
theater.
mass release.
Okay. 15. We'll say it made a good chunk of money. We'll say 15 million.
It made $10.5 million, so made profit, making it the 15th highest grossing horror film for the year. So, I'd always just kind of heard about this. Like, oh, the Collector, you not seen The Collector? It's fun. It's crazy. Like, that's what I've always heard, but without any descriptors of what fun or crazy means. I found out what crazy means.
Oh yeah. This movie, like, none of it makes sense. So little of this movie makes sense, but in most cases that's irritating. But for this one, I enjoyed it and like could just put all of that on like the back burner
This
and
is not the thinking man's movie.
God, no. That goes out the window easily in the first 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, because the start of this movie is just kind of like, okay, it has like a made for TV quality.
At the beginning, it feels like it.
Yes, it's just like, I need this money. Okay, I'll get you the money. Loan sharks, all this stuff. It's just like, that's just
why.
It's literally just like, here's our reasoning to take our lead, Josh Stewart, playing Arkin, to give him reason to not just like flip off the house and leave.
Right.
Which was a deleted alternate ending.
Yes.
Which
is great.
It actually kind of fits the tone a little bit at times in this film. So
yeah.
I would have totally been down for that.
Uh-huh. I love that idea. Just like, peace, I'm out.
Yeah, fuck you, I'm out. So, if you've not seen this movie, it's like you can get it on Tubi and all that stuff. I will say it is of its time. So 2009, we're like in the torture porn kind of era. Like,
that's for sure.
So it's not for people that turn away from blood. That being said, it is over the top. So even like you're not a big gore person, Tasha. No. Did the gore at all bother you in this movie?
It didn't bother me, but I will say about 2/3 of the way through, I was just spent. I was kind of ready for the movie to be over because I was just so like overstimulated with all of it that it started to like lose its funny and it just kept happening. I was kind of just waiting for it to be done.
I don't know. Late in the movie has one of the greatest scenes I have seen in a film.
I think we're probably thinking of the same one.
I really hope we are.
And it was after that.
Yeah.
That was just kind of like, okay, this movie can be done now.
That's fair. That's fair. But so I don't even know where to fucking start. Okay. So
let's start with the fact that this movie was supposed to be a prequel to Saw.
Yes, it was written as a prequel to Saw, and they were just like, nah, I don't feel like that's proper. So they reworked it and everything. Because this was supposed to be like the origin story for Jigsaw, which I guess I could see, but like
I don't. But it's another thing of like, does it have to make sense? Because none of this makes sense. And really, does Saw make sense? Like at the end of the day, none of it has a linear like put together storyline.
We keep like getting like that line drawn to Saw from a lot of films and stuff. So we're going to have to cover it soon just because like just for posterity and everything. Like I haven't watched that in a long time, but you can definitely see like the idea of like, hey, can I copy your homework? It's like, yeah, but you got to change a couple things. And that's how you kind of get this, and like Saul ultimately did the same thing to Seven. Like, hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, but you got to change a couple things. So we kind of got this like generational jump, like 90s, super early 2000s, end of the 2000s. I don't even know what you would consider the next, like it'd be the great grandson of Seven, what that would be. Considering we've got Seven, then Saw, then I would say The Collector, and then there's got to be something more like in the tens, in the teens,
We'll have to do some digging on that because that is curious to like track that lineage.
Yeah, because it's very like, and they like wear it on their sleeve. They straight up said like this was, it was influenced by Saw and Seven. Again, cool. You said it. I saw it. I wasn't happy that they didn't say they were influenced by Home Alone because that 100%. Okay, like Home Alone, Kevin McAllister versus the fucking people breaking into houses. So I mean, it's just Kevin McAllister again.
But he is breaking in, like somebody broke into this house. It's not.
He could be the landlord.
Oh my god!
Maybe the collector's the landlord, and he's coming to collect rent.
That's what the collector is. It has nothing to do with anything else. He
No.
just purely
Well-
wants paid.
Well, because we don't really get any reasoning or
Nope.
rhyme or reason or what he's collecting people. That's what we're told. That's
Because some guy told us that.
and there's a red box. Like that's kind of the movie.
Which
So-
I can't.
not-
that
not-
box, man.
not to ruin anything, right? So before we get into spoilers and stuff, we need to drum up some money,
yeah.
and do our remake of The Collector. So Natasha, if you were given, whatever budget you wanted,
Yeah.
what's going on with your version of The Collector?
Okay, so for me, the only character that mattered was Arkin.
For the most
Everyone else could really just be an extra, so I'm not even going to waste too much money on them.
They're literally cannon fodder in this movie.
Yes, they suck. All of them. They deserve what they had coming to them.
Whoa.
So I am going to do a director. It's funny that you mentioned the production company that did Scream, because I was leaning towards Wes Craven directing this movie.
Okay. R.A.P.
Yeah. And while I really like Josh Stewart, I think Aaron Paul would kill that, for lack of a better word. I think Aaron Paul would do a really good job as Arkin.
Oh yeah, I can see him. Like they both go like, "Don't walk away from me, bitch!" Like he can say bitch real well, so
It's
he's
true.
got it.
But he's also like that kind of hard guy, but also sweet and I think he would play that role really well. And those are the only two things that I casted. Nothing else mattered.
That's fair. Yeah, because casting anybody else is just. I mean, I did cast them, but that's just because that's what I do. I overthink, but yeah, I can see it'd be interesting. Like Wes Craven, so like Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street.
I think it would have a better storyline. Probably be a little bit
hope.
more concise. It might have a plan.
But this is like prime for a remake. Like,
Oh, yeah.
This could be fucking like, I mean, not that this movie is dope as fuck or anything, but it is 100% what it's trying to be. Like,
Yeah, I also think you might not want to remake it because it's like an endearing movie
yeah.
in a weird way.
This is like I'm looking forward to showing the kids this because it's like the older kids, but
Yeah.
because it's just like you want to see some crazy shit because they're not going to like look at plot holes and all that stuff.
No.
Like we do that because we have this podcast and we can't help it now. That's just how our brains work. But like I can see just being like, fucking like 16 popping this in with
Yeah.
like some popcorn, some friends, just be like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Is it
Had I
true?
watched this pre-podcast, I would have had that same feeling. But now I'm ruined and I pay too much attention to things.
See, but I let some stuff slide
Yeah.
if I can tell that film is not trying. This film is not trying to be Midsummer or whatever.
Right.
It's trying to be home invasion and like. So if
And
we're putting this
crazy.
up against like home invasion films and stuff, you've got like The Strangers and stuff. This is fucking more fun for me anyhow to watch than The Strangers and the more recent, like Hush. And I know that if I feel like I'm coming at you, but I'm just
You
name
are.
dropping home invasion films that we've covered on the podcast.
Yeah. Hush first time around beats this one first
Okay.
time around.
Okay, that's fair.
Same with Strangers. This movie has no tension. This movie is in your face.
You don't think there's
Aside
any
from-
tension?
I think there's one scene.
I think the beginning of the cat and mouse, there
Yeah.
is like some good tension and stuff. But all right. So my dream production
Oh,
for
yeah.
this is so Arkin is going to be gender swapped casting.
Okay.
It's going to be Georgina Campbell. You may know her as the female lead from Barbarian.
Okay.
So she's going to be our
Interesting.
Arkin. But this is going to be directed by Michael and Danny Philippou, who did Talk to Me.
Okay.
And I like that, like, they're like kind of, they do grime real well when it needs to be, but then like kind of relatable. So I think that they can do like
Kind of relatable.
well, they can like the party sequences and Talk to Me and
Gotcha.
everything. So taking that idea and then putting it like on the seedy nightclub and the bowling alley, like all the beginning stuff, I think that they could do that really well. And then I did cast Victoria and Michael, the husband and wife that are in the house, and the collector, even though you don't see the collector's face in the film.
Okay.
I did cast the collector as Ethan Hawke specifically because of him in Black Phone and stuff like that. I think that he could play like that kind of, vibe. Plus, it's a nice name to throw on the top of the poster. Get some.
Oh, I see. You're doing it just to get people to come in. And then they're going to be pissed that they don't even get to hear his voice, see his face.
Well, you get to hear him go like, Ethan Hawke. Like he just says his name.
I am Ethan Hawke.
I am Ethan Hawke. I am the one who collects. We're just going to completely change the tone of this film. Victoria, though, the wife, is going to be Rachel McAdams. I think that she would we're just name dropping all over this. And then Michael, the husband, who is kind of like an affluent guy. I think he's like a senator kind of guy or, mayor-y kind of way. But
he looks merry.
Bradley Whitford, the dad from Get Out.
Okay.
And from Billy Madison.
Okay. I can picture him now.
We're going to have him in that role. So that's
slimy.
Basically, it's going to be Michael and Danny Philippou directing Georgina from Barbarian against Ethan Hawke. And that's going to be our movie. It's going to be.
Just want to hear Rachel McAdams scream.
Yeah, I guess so. She just kind of reminded me of Victoria a little bit. And I haven't seen Rachel McAdams in a film for a while. So there's that.
She's hard up for work, so Nick's going to give her something.
So if this is your first time listening to Pot of the Dead, hello and welcome. We are a horror film movie club, as you may have heard at the beginning. What that means is at the end of every episode, we give out homework so you can watch next week's or listen to next week's episode and, not have spoiled, the film or whatever. If you don't give a shit about spoilers, stick around because we're going to grab this dog. We're going to split it in half, and we're going to get there. But before spoilers, we got to give our scores. So, Natasha, what do you think I gave this movie?
I think you gave this movie a 7.5.
Oh, damn, that's a lot higher. I did give it a 6 1/4, 6.25.
6.25.
Yeah, so that I think it works in that. I'd rewatch this. It was fun. It's not something that I'm just like, oh man, this movie fucking rips. Now, talk to me 15 years ago, around the time that this came out, I'd probably just be like, dude, this is so much fun.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You're talking this film up a lot higher than I thought you were going to. So I think you're going to give it a 7.
That's too high. I'm giving it a 6.
Okay. That's fair. I think this is straight up. So that's given us what, a 6.13 or some shit like that for our score.
6.5.
Yeah. It gives it. How does it go up? You work in the fucking education field.
I didn't put parentheses around my math equation.
God.
Hold on.
It's 6.13.
12.5.
Well, 6.12.
Divided by 20. It's a 62.5.
Yeah.
What did you say?
You're right. You're doing percentile. 62.5. So I said 6. It doesn't matter. You're more than likely going to like this.
Do the math, Nick.
I did. You take 6. You add 6.25.
Oh, that's right. You did 0.25. I gave you an extra half a point.
See? And then you divide by 2. And there you go.
You don't divide by 2. You divide by 20.
You don't have to divide by 20. Just do what I said and watch.
Oh, because then your decimal point will be moved. You just have to move it once instead of moving it twice.
Yep.
I'm still moving it twice, and it's 61.2.
That's what I said. 6.12. 61.2.
Or 61.2.
There you go. 61%. You failed. And we have failed you.
Right. We're done with Math Corner. Let's go back to the movie.
Yeah. So anyway, stick around. We're going to hit spoilers. You've been warned. Let's break in.
If you'd like to be part of our horror film club, make sure to follow us at Instagram, Threads, and Facebook at Pot of the Dead. All of our episodes can be found at potofthedeadorelse.com or wherever you stream music and podcasts. If you have movie recommendations or questions for us, email us at potofthedead666@gmail.com. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Or else.
All right, Natasha.
Yes.
Give me that 10 out of 10 review that you yourself wrote.
On it. The Collector is a gripping horror thriller that reinvents the home invasion genre, directed by Marcus Dunstan. It follows Arkin, played by Josh Stewart, who breaks into a house only to find an already occupied by a masked killer named the Collector.
Bum, bum, bum.
The film excels in creating a tense atmosphere through effective lighting and sound design, making viewers feel claustrophobic, dread alongside the characters. The Collector's elaborate traps are both creative and horrifying, adding an inventive edge to the story.
Is a floor covered in bear traps inventive?
No,
Go on.
so many, such ridiculous.
I just remember
the
it cuts to
acid
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's just swords everywhere. Okay. Stewart delivers a strong performance, making Arkin a relatable yet flawed protagonist.
Yeah, I feel like
I
him
can't
sometimes.
relate to
remember
breaking into a house full of bear traps and other things.
to get a literal like baseball-sized gemstone.
Right, to collect a gemstone that has no meaning.
Comical size. Like it is like what would be in a safe? I don't know. It's like
Exactly.
written by a 12-year-old. I don't know, fucking gemstone.
A giant raw ruby. Why do they have it? Nobody knows. Okay. The film explores themes of desperation and survival, culminating in a shocking conclusion that leaves a lasting impact. I'll give them that much. In summary, The Collector is a must-watch for horror fans, blending suspense and psychological terror in a memorable way. I don't get any psychological terror out of this movie.
No, there's no psychological terror. I do agree though that like, you know, it does have that feel of like every horror fan should see this. Not that it's going to be the best thing or the worst thing. It's just it is like, you've not seen The Collector? Okay, like you got to see it. Like it's a time capsule of its time. Like it's very much just like I don't want to say it's original because it definitely like is Saw and it's Seven and it's Home Alone. But I can't think of another film that just does like it just is just we're gonna do this. It don't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. It's just an interesting concept of cat and mouse, booby traps. Neither of us are supposed to be here. Some people get caught in the crossfire, and there we go.
That's really the only difference is he's already kind of the owners of the house have already met their demise, and there's just another person that has wandered in. That's really the only difference between this movie and any other
Home invasion.
aside from the like traps, of course, which make no sense. But that's really it. There's just another layer of somebody else stumbled in.
Are you going to tell me that a chandelier covered in steak knives does not make sense?
It doesn't make sense because when that chandelier full of steak knives falls on somebody, he just pushes it off.
Yeah, because Ethan Hawke don't fuck around.
So it was pointless to even have.
No, it was cool. Because
No, it
this
wasn't.
movie, no. This movie is written by a 12-year-old because it's cool. It's a chandelier covered
Okay.
in steak knives. What
Okay.
if
Just
the
zip tied on there.
What if the floor was lava? Like, it
Literally.
literally
Let's
is.
make it acid.
See, that's why this movie rules, because it just straight up is a 12-year-old wrote it. And this is no shade at the writers and the directors and all that
Or
stuff.
12-year-olds.
Or 12-year-olds. Well, maybe some shade at some 12-year-olds. But yeah, that's what I keep saying. It's like it is straight up what it wants to be. And what it wants to be is, hey, 12-year-olds, you want to see some fucking tits and some blood?
Oh my God.
Because this movie I should have given it higher because it did have some tits in it. No
But
dicks,
Nick-
but we got tits.
They were underage tits.
That was an overage actress, and we're not sure that she's in high school. She just acts like she is.
Okay, that's fair.
By no means is it meant to be like that. But like, yeah, it's very like, hey, let me get a drag of that cigarette and all this stuff. So it's like, okay, so is she underage? And then no, but wait, and what?
And then that tantrum that she throws with her mom. Everyone else is staying. Like, it's just unnecessary.
Well, it doesn't make sense. And this is where like the rewrites happen and stuff, you know?
Just like when he's at the bowling alley and like wants to see his daughter. So is he not allowed to see his daughter? Why is his ex-wife so angry about these loan sharks? Like,
why does he have to pay the money to the loan sharks?
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't need to make sense. Whatever. We're gonna do this, and what's gonna be the most? It 100% is like, okay, so they did these other things in those other movies that were influenced by. How can we up the ante? It's specifically that.
Overacting. That's how.
See, I think a lot of it is like overacting and underacting. It's like all over the place. So, all right, here we go. 1 out of 10.
Okay.
I wish the rating could be lower. This movie is filled with twists and turns that simply make no sense.
Yep.
From the collector, whatever that means, didn't really get any chance to learn what was his motive or even learn any backstory at all. That is a fucking sentence.
I could see the hard on your face that was tough.
Where does this start? Where does this end? The protagonist also tried helping people throughout the movie and somehow failed every time, even when it seemed like he could have just caught the killer by surprise. Spoiler alert, the collector somehow survived the explosion, knives to the body and the head, and then even armed him with a shotgun as if he wasn't already overpowered. I'm also still trying to figure out how he found the time to arm every trap in the house. He even found time to change the locks on the doors.
Yes.
Now, call me out if you want, but that would be a pretty suspicious order at Home Depot. To conclude my overview of this terrible thing, some would call a movie. If you're looking for an unsatisfying thrill, here you are. Okay. We may have failed math class earlier, but they failed fucking sentence structure. There's a lot of just smashing together. Anyway, I do agree with like 99% of what they say, but at the same time, I don't care.
At first, I really cared, and then I got settled into it of just like, yeah, you know what? We're throwing all logic out the window. Because exactly, how did he have time to do all of this stuff? Where were the people at that time? Because clearly they were supposed to leave and didn't leave. So at what point did the collector do these things and capture the people?
Maybe they're drugged. Maybe
they were.
Maybe stop being a bitch. Maybe just like watch the movie. You ever think about that?
Where do you get all the bear traps?
Bear trap store.
Amazon.
Like, I'm just going to answer all of your questions as if I'm like a shitty 12-year-old.
Right. Like it has a clear answer. Why didn't you think of that?
Well, yeah.
Can we talk about the man in the box?
Yeah, we can talk about Alice in Chains.
That part, once I saw...
Wow.
I know we're going a little bit out of order, but...
It don't fucking matter.
That, once I saw Arkin, like, open up that red trunk in the closet and then shove that man back in the box, at that point, I knew what kind of movie I was watching.
Yeah. A great movie.
He's like, get back in there.
Shut up, you bitch. I keep saying bitch because he uses that in a certain scene, and I'm not going to use the other word that he says in that scene. So, if it uses an F slur, and you gotta, not saying it's okay, but you also have to understand that it was just used all the time in movies around this time. And
he was doing it to get a rise out of the collector. So neither slur is okay, but it served a purpose.
Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. It was there. But I'm just going to keep saying bitch because that's so much more acceptable.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Because women, right?
All right. So moving
I'm a 12-year-old, remember?
That's right. So what are I'm going to read your pros for the movie before we get too off the hinges. How does that sound?
That sounds good. What we got?
So as we've already pointed out, you think this movie was a fun idea.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Fucking Tony Hawk could have been in this film and been cool.
And it was absolutely batshit insane.
100%. I think I gave you that after I watched it. I was like, have you watched it yet? Okay, this is do you have the text that I sent you to kind of give?
I do, yeah.
The disclaimer I gave you?
Yeah. go into it expecting just an over-the-top, what the fuck kind of movie. I was laughing through it. It is gory, but it's also ridiculous. There's also a small post-credit scene.
Yes.
And going into it, starting it off, I told Drew that too, because he was like, have you watched it? Blah, blah, blah. What's it about? And I was like, I don't know if it's supposed to be silly, because you said that too. Like, I think it's supposed to be serious, but I was laughing. So I didn't know how to take it. And after we saw the credit scene at the beginning, I realized, no, this movie is supposed to be serious.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Well, it's like it starts serious. It just keeps leaning into it so much that it becomes comical.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So.
And just like the force at which some of the things happen is just ridiculous.
The speed at which things happen and are just not like, there's no repercussions. Shit just happens next scene.
God. All right. So,
well, here, hold on. We're talking about batshit insane. Let's just talk about it.
Okay.
The dog scene.
See, I don't. Oh,
okay,
yes.
So he's being chased by a dog. He takes a bucket full of flaming toilet paper, puts it over the dog's head, picks up the dog that's fully on fire now, throws it at the collector, and the collector blows it in half like he's skeet shooting. This is in like 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Then it just goes
fast.
on.
We're done with that. Next.
That is the greatest scene in any film ever. And I'm not here for like animal cruelty and stuff. There is a cat that gets killed and a dog that gets killed in this. Both of them are the most ridiculous things.
The cat I think the cat is even worse.
A window guillotine cuts the cat in half as it gets ready to jump out a window.
And at first, it was so uncomfortable because, like, the cat is in this, like, acid, sticky stuff and stuck and, like, riling and trying to get out. And I felt really bad for it.
Yeah.
And then, like, Arkin clearly pulls the cat out of it and it's all bloody. But then as the cat jumps, it's completely fine. And I go, oh my God, how is this cat okay? And then it gets cut in half.
The cat's not okay.
The cat's not okay. And Arkin just gets sprayed with blood. I don't understand how that happens. It was just like a tube of blood just got shot in his face.
And then he hid under the pillows.
Looks completely natural. Why does a bed have so many pillows?
Do you understand like what we're saying? This is a 12-year-old just making it up. So then like, the cat gets killed by a guillotine. Okay, well then the guy's gonna come in. Yeah, then I just hide under the pillows and blankets.
Right. Which is exactly what my 9-year-old does often. And the best part was when he just like pushes all the pillows off of him and pops out.
It's so weird. It's such a weird movie. This kind of has a feeling of like aliens saw horror films and then tried to make their own.
Yes, I like that. When you were talking about earlier, when I said I think we have the same batshit crazy scene towards the end, mine was actually when Jill picks up the scissors.
Oh God, yes.
How does she get catapulted so fast?
Catapulted into a screen, like a projection screen. Behind it is covered in like these massive nails, and she just impales on it.
Because it looks like the only thing that happens is she picks up the scissors and it like trips a projector screen, like a projector. So the projector is clearly heavier than she is, and she just goes flying.
Oh, I'm dying over here. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm dying. Okay.
That one was just straight up absurd.
Well, because like the absurdity is she kind of grabs the scissors for no real reason.
No.
And like, why did he think that was like, they're going to grab it? It makes sense to like trigger all the windows, all the, but like, I'm going to set some scissors here and they're going to do so batshit crazy. That being said, when Arkin puts his hand through the window and catches the razor, that was probably the most grueling scene in the movie for me. Like I like winced and kind of looked away because like that was done really well.
Yeah, I didn't watch that whole part.
Yeah, that was hard. Okay, what other pros do I have?
I mean, we've talked about it. Fun gore.
Yeah. Fucking bear trap scene. Let's just
that one was unnecessary. That one was just That one, like after his legs got chopped, I was like, at that point, I was just ready for that one to be over.
And then it
Just,
smashes his
okay.
head. There you go.
Yeah, this keeps happening. Yeah.
All right. Is that all the pros that I've got?
Yep.
All right. Your pros are the main character.
I really like Arkin. I've seen
is
him
a
in other
good
stuff.
actor.
Yeah, I've seen him in other stuff, and there's just a good. He's just really good. He's a good, endearing, like he has a good quality to him that I like the characters that he plays, and I liked him in this movie.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. I think he's like the one person in the movie that did a good. Well, actually, it's surprising because I don't like kid actors, but I thought the little girl did a good job for what she was supposed to do.
Yeah, scream.
Yeah,
Scream and
run. You know, the kills were comical. Are there any more kills that you would like to talk about?
I think we've talked
Can we
about
talk
all
about the dog kill again? Because, okay, mind you, this is the dog from the house is completely cool with the collector, is going to murder the little child.
Right. Yeah.
So you know what? That dog deserved to be caught on fire, thrown at someone, and blown in half.
Right. It's her pet.
Yeah.
And
I don't get it. Oh, here's another kill that we didn't talk about. How about when the collector's going to burst into her bedroom and throws the guy in the box on the floor to stop from being electrocuted because they knocked like it's so much knocked
the fish tank and TV.
Yeah, sure. Why the fuck not? This is what we're doing. And then
This is an Animaniacs cartoon at this point.
Yes, 100%. This is what I'm saying, batshit crazy. It's that kind of stuff. Because I was like, okay, right on. Oh no, we're just going to throw this body down, or step on magazines for acid.
Right. It doesn't burn the wood.
Nope.
That it's on, but it'll tear apart a
glue.
shoe.
Acid glue. It's like a level from Sonic or some shit like that.
Yeah. That's a great point. And for whatever reason, even though the collector like booby trapped and did the whole house, he couldn't get into the unlocked girl's bedroom.
Yeah, and didn't hear her running around and shit. Like it doesn't need to make sense.
Really
what I was really hoping for is there's that scene with like the razor wire, like the real fine.
Oh.
And he like walks into it and it cuts his cheek. I was really hoping that someone's going to just run through that shit and is just going to cube him up.
Missed opportunity.
I know. That's what it felt like. It was kind of that whole we set the gun here by the third act. It's going to happen. And that didn't happen. He just cuts through it with his knife and it's just like, okay.
Lame. I was expecting the boyfriend to get decapitated.
I thought the girl was going to get decapitated with how she was hanging over, because I think it even shows like the fucking like blade hanging up there.
Because he keeps like just kind of tripping it just enough to make it wiggle.
How about the tooth extracting scene?
Nope. Saw it coming, did not watch.
I thought it was they went, you know how like pulling teeth out with pliers is grueling? It's like, yeah. It's like, what if we did it with a chisel and a hammer? And that was a new nightmare unleashed on me, because the two things that I don't like are like finger hand stuff, right? And we got the razor blade on the hand, and then teeth like getting pulled, and that's what we got.
But not even just it getting pulled, but like you said, getting it like
chiseled out.
When I like hit my teeth on like a coffee mug.
Yeah, but just think it's a solid like steel chisel and a hammer.
And he has fish hooks in his back and in his hands.
Straight up Hellraiser stuff. Or how about the room that was just littered with hanging fish hooks and it catches him in the eye.
Yeah, that was, and by that point it was just I was spent. Just couldn't take anymore.
I honestly did not know that this was going to go like that in it, but it 100% it is that movie. Like if it were like really toned down and stuff, this movie wouldn't work, because the absurdity of the kills and everything is what makes it work. Because if you just toned it down and everything was insinuated, this movie would suck.
Right. Like if it was just all the dad hanging upside down, disemboweled.
Yeah.
Like that, out of everything, that did nothing for me.
Yeah. You just see it and you're like, yeah, okay. Sure.
I was so mad at every single woman in this movie. And you could tell how mad Arkin was too. She's like, just shut your fucking mouth.
Just stare at my back. You dumb bitch.
Like, why'd you have to scream? So angry.
All right, I'm gonna take Okay, the bathtub scene in the basement instantly made me think of Martyrs.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
it
It
was
was
weird.
it was a much more tame version.
Yeah, it's like we can't do a stapled steel mask on her face, but we can do a little like paper fucking stapler and some duct tape. And at first he's like, I can't take this off. Then later on he just fucking rips it off.
Rips it off.
And there's no reaction.
I thought he was going to use the paper clip to like pry them off. So then I was like, what's the point of the paper? This makes no. Why?
Oh, because we're gonna undo the fucking
The handcuff.
handcuffs. Yeah. What else do you got? Any other pros? Fast paced.
Yeah, it was. It was quick. It was.
90
There wasn't
minutes.
a lot of lolling.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Nice. All right, your cons. Cinematography.
Not good. There were
Care to
so many.
elaborate? No.
Yes.
Just not good. Next.
Moving on.
My
But
cons are like this movie, fast paced.
Let's go through them. But like specifically at the beginning, there were so many like tight shots that just
Yeah.
didn't make any sense. It seemed like they were trying to be artsy and it just came
Yes.
off as like not.
Yeah, somebody had watched Darren Aronofsky and Edgar Wright films and was just like, everything that happens, we need to take a hard cut to them doing that thing for half a second and then move on.
Yeah,
And yeah, like I 100% agree with that.
I didn't like it.
It very much seems like this movie was I don't know, but it feels like it was shot in chronological order, which films tend to not be. And then they learned how to direct and edit as the film went on.
Okay.
Because the beginning is very made for TV feeling, and by the end of it, it doesn't feel like the beginning of it. And not just because like we're in a house getting chased by a killer and stuff, but like just the way it's made.
That
Let's
very
see.
well could be. Or we just got used to it.
Maybe we just got beaten down.
Yeah.
So direction for most every actor.
Yeah, just bad acting, bad
Yeah.
directing, overacting of the ex-wife, of both of the parents that were in the basement, of the couple at the beginning with the box. Like we've talked about it, Arkin was the main guy with good acting chops. The rest of them, I wanted them to die.
So many plot holes.
Yes, we've talked at length about
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Nothing makes sense.
Nope, but it doesn't need to be. What we're here for is the Korn music intro to the collector showing up and then just some like crazy cat and mouse and scene.
And then that just goes into
Yeah, no
the
real setup.
last two.
No real setup to the story, why and how. Yep, that's about right.
Yeah. Your cons has a made for TV feel,
Yeah, the beginning part.
which I think that your second one, that the acting was underwhelming, ties into the made for TV feel.
Yeah. And it was funny that like I hit that because I was just like, what other film was it? And it was Frailty had that made for TV feel. And it's like, this is that kind of acting at times, it felt like, you know. Aside from because like if you really think about it, beyond just screaming, right? But if you just take that, like the screaming's fine. Like I'm not saying that anybody can scream in a movie, but like the screaming was fine. I didn't think that it was hokey or corny or anything like that. But anytime people weren't screaming, they're supposed to be talking. It was so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Like cripplingly bad. Like my knees gave out.
Like you might as well just give us like facial expressions and I would have been better with that.
Yeah.
Keep the gag in the mom's mouth.
Yes, please. So, yeah, that's our pros, cons of the film. Something, though, that I would like to point out, and I wonder if you noticed, later on in the film when we think, it's kind of like the false end, right? Arkin gets in the back of the, well, two things, but Arkin gets in the back of the ambulance gets knocked over. That is clearly a toy ambulance that gets knocked over and rolls. If you look at it, never once. This thing rolls and rolls and rolls. Not a scratch, no damage. And if you just look at it, it is a fucking plastic ambulance toy. Just shot real close. Go back and check it out.
That's awesome.
I was like, well, good on you. Like that fucking saved you all the money.
Yeah, we had that thought too with the scene right before that, as I think it's the ambulance is driving off, and you see it from up above, and like the colors are changing.
Yeah,
and I had a thought of like that has to be a miniature.
I think
it didn't click over to when we're actually seeing the rollover part.
Yeah, that's either a miniature or just CGI, because they do use a lot of CGI for spiders. Because at the end of the day, the collector is the exterminator that he's like talking to at the beginning, that's wearing the mask that gives him the thumbs up. That's the collector. Second thing, that reveal was very underwhelming to me. That's who it was, because I thought that this had it very much felt like high tension. I thought maybe he was the collector or something like that, and was like chasing himself around the house.
He set the traps and then forgot that he set the traps.
Because like he's like, every time that he's encountering the collector through most of the movie, no one else is with him. So I was like, well, maybe okay. Like there was a lot of shots that like kind of had that feel where he was, and that's what I was expecting. It's like, no. It's that exterminator from the beginning of the movie. I was like, okay, so fucking what? Like, not that doesn't
make sense, because he's like kind
are you trying to make
bugs.
sense of this movie?
I know. I can't help it.
Like, that's why I was just like, well, maybe this is what they're trying to do, because everything else doesn't fucking make sense.
That's fair. The fact that it's an exterminator, it makes sense only in the fact that he's at the house.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if he's like, his job is to kill bugs, why is he saving I know I need to stop with the whys because it doesn't make sense, but I can't help.
No, please tear this apart. Let's see where this rabbit hole takes us. Because
he has all of the razor wire like a spider web. So then he's like taking bits from like arachnids, and he saves, like they make a point to show that he saves that spider and pushes him out the window after just disemboweling a human. Like, that doesn't make any sense, that if he's supposed to be the person that's paid to kill the bugs, why is he saving the bugs?
Do you think it would be cooler? This just came to me because I don't care for the mask from the front.
The mask is creepy.
Really? From the front? You think so?
I think so. With the eyes, whatever's going on with the eyes.
Yeah, that was cool. But the shaping of the mask, what if the mask was more arachnid looking? Would that kind of tie it together a little bit more, maybe?
It still wouldn't make the point of the exterminators the one killing bugs and saving bugs. Okay. I'm stuck on that part.
Okay.
If he was if he was an exterminator and that like was his name instead of that was his occupation,
Bonesaw.
That would make more sense, because he's like killing the people, not killing the bugs, and he's like taking a page out of the animal kingdom and using like arachnid tactics.
Well, hold on. Is this just bad Spider-Man?
Very well could be.
Oh my god. Oh my god. It all makes sense now. That's what we're missing.
Does it though?
Yeah.
This is a reach, man.
The one thing I did like about the mask, though, was like there's a very iconic scene in this movie that they use for the front cover where he puts it back on and he's tying the back of it. That is such a menacing shot and everything. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's creepy. And I thought when he was like watching Jill and her boyfriend in the kitchen where he's just like hunkered down in the back, I thought that was really unsettling too.
Yeah, it's done.
I
really
wish
well.
they stuck with that, but I think right after that is when he falls into the bear trap. So then it's like
great.
Tense and unsettling, and then just absolutely ridiculous.
You were wanting the collector directed and written by Mike Flanagan. You were wanting that.
Yes,
and what we got was fucking Korn and Combi Christ and this very new metal gore home invasion film.
Yeah.
Written by a 12-year-old.
So how do you feel about him going back for the little girl?
It makes sense because like I think that they like acting and directing aside, and like it's such a weird thing, like narratively it even just doesn't work, but like if you think about like just drawing a line for like, well, why? It's like, well, we already know that he has a daughter. He also asked this little girl what present she would love more in the world or most in the world, and he buys that for his daughter. Like we have that through line. It makes sense. Whether it's warranted or anything, that's the reason all that shit at the beginning is there. We
Mhm.
know that it's all because of his daughter, and like the reason he doesn't want his ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, his baby mama to get fucked up is because that's going to end up hitting the kid, because that's brought to the table when he's in the back of the car with the guy that he works with that helped him through prison or whatever, right?
I didn't even catch that part.
Yeah, because he's like says something about like fucking up his family and his pretty little girl or something to that extent, right? So
It's so forgettable. I was
yeah.
so just overstimulated with death that I learned that bit from the trailer that we watched at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, that's all at the beginning.
I was like, oh, okay, that's why he's an ex-con. Didn't click.
Yeah, so it all makes sense, like our hero's journey, right? It makes sense, but there's so much other stuff that they throw on it, like a fucking safe that has the gun and a gem, and that's all that's in it. It's very like, I keep saying it, but it feels like what a kid or like someone that doesn't understand the structure and the how a movie or a story exactly works. It's just, well, he needs money, so he's going to break in. Okay. There's a safe. Okay. Like, it's just all that. It feels very just throwing spaghetti at the wall. But the one through line that does make sense is why he would go back to that house. You know, that does work.
It bothers me how he went back for the little girl. Like, he finally figured out a way to break out of the house. Okay, cool. He broke out, saw her, went back in. Why the hell didn't he just go through the same window that he took her out? Why are we now going into the basement and all of this other nonsense? That bit could have been shrunk drastically.
Absolutely.
Like, honestly, all of that could have just been taken out. I understand, like, he needed to get captured or whatever.
Because we need that, I guess.
I don't know. But that was another part that happened, like, after he went back.
Yeah. And then, like, he ends up getting out with the girl and they escape the house. And I kind of like, I mean, we do get the nihilistic ending, but I liked the nihilistic ending that they faked you out, where he gets the collector gets the little girl. But then it's like, oh shit, it's actually a cop. He's like kind of like out in and out of it or whatever. I was like, oh shit, that's fucking dark. You know, you don't see anything happen to the girl, but you know that he got her. Like, I thought that's where it was going and it was going to end. And I was like, oh shit. But no, we get a toy ambulance get knocked over and then he throws him in the fucking box at the end. I thought that was really good too, because
I liked that.
You know, the kid gets away, he saves the kid, but you're not getting out of here, which is very reminiscent of Saw, where it's like, oh, he fucking like finds out that, spoilers if you've never seen Saw, just jump forward like 30 seconds or whatever, but it's like, oh, you know, like the guy in the middle of the room's dead, isn't actually dead. He stands up and then he closes the door on him and you thought that he was going to escape, but he's actually stuck in here at the end. Like, it's the exact same thing. You know, 7. Oh, you thought you caught him. Ha, what's in the box? End of film. You know, like, it's that same thing of ha ha ha, but our hero is fucked. Like, it's
like no good deed goes unpunished.
100%. So there's that through line there too, which I'm always down for. And I think that it did it well, because I didn't expect it to end like that with where it was at, you know, in the film. I was like, okay, so it's just gonna happy ending. Okay, that kind of sucks.
Especially when he was like so hell bent on like, what time is it? I have to get it done by midnight.
Yeah, and I must have misread the watch when it shows it, because I thought like he had 5 minutes.
Same here.
Okay, was it an hour and 5 minutes, or was it fucking 5 minutes? And that whole film takes place in 5 minutes.
I think it was an hour and 5 minutes because it was really close to 11 and it was 55, which would be 10:55. But yeah, my brain read it as, how is this possible? He's like, okay, 5 minutes left. Let's do this.
Yeah, we got this. And then all that happens, they ask somebody like in the ambulance, what time is it? It's like, it's 12 o'clock. He's like, did it? I'm like, hold on. So this movie's actually slowed down because we got 90 minutes. That's actually 5 minutes. So we need to time compress this movie into 5 minutes, and that's the actual speed at which everything happened.
So fast.
Yeah. So that's,
well, this isn't one that I plan on like rewatching anytime soon, but it does make me want to watch the second one.
Okay, yeah. See where they go from there.
Right. And I was thinking that the third one, the next one's a collection, and then there's the collected. I thought that one was already out. It's actually slated to come out next year.
There's been a lot of tie-ups with it and stuff,
Mhm.
like it lost funding and all this stuff, and the creator of the films and stuff said like he's still planning on it's like still supposed to be coming out and everything. So and they're doing the thing where the collected, the E in collected is a number 3. Ooh, Mathregan? Anybody? Mathregan? No? Okay. So yeah, it was a serviceable it was a serviceable horror film. It was a hell of a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be because it was so batshit crazy.
Yeah.
I just cannot stop thinking about the dog scene.
Mine's the Jill scene.
Yeah.
I just, man, right
It's-
into that wall. So fast. Drew was dying laughing on the couch, like crying laughing at that one.
It's so good. Like
Man.
this is garbage horror cinema at its finest for its era. Like I'm good with this.
If this movie if the third stays in the same wheelhouse and like if the second one is like the first, blah blah blah, I would go see the third one in theaters.
Nice. Yeah,
I think
'cause
it
this
would be a great
fun.
time.
It'd just be fun. Like that's the thing is you don't get a lot of like the torture-y, like gory stuff from this era that's actually just fun to watch. It's usually like very gross out. And it tries to gross out, but it doesn't like hang in it too long, except for when Arkin is hanging on hooks.
Right.
Like, that's for a while. But like
and this has a little bit of like the like Final Destination vibes. And I know there's a new one of that coming out too.
Yeah.
So it'd be perfect timing.
Yeah, we gotta cover those, or at least one of them sometime soon too.
One is good. I think there's like 15 of them.
There's not enough. There's not enough. That's what Hollywood says. So, yeah. All right. I think we've covered the collector. Is there anything else that you would like to say about this movie?
No, sir.
All right. So it is homework time.
Okay.
What do we have for homework? Let us see. So, we're kind of inadvertently doing a double feature week back to back. So this is a home invasion film, and I believe the next one is a home invasion film as well, because we will be covering Don't Breathe. This came out in like 2016, maybe somewhere in there. I believe it's also directed by Fede Alvarez, who did the Evil Dead remake and the like. This is another one that I've not seen.
Neither have I.
So that's what we'll be covering. Do you have a year that it shows right there?
Yeah, 2016.
Okay, I was right on. So yeah, that's what we're going to be covering for next week is Don't Breathe. So homework, Don't Breathe.
It looks like there might be a paywall of about $4. It's on unless you have a Stars subscription.
Okay. Cool. And a lot of those like Stars and stuff like that, you can get like free monthly trials through whatever and just try that out. Don't spend the $4. Get Don't Breathe for free. So all right, that's it, guys. For Pot of the Dead, I am Nicholas,
and I am Natasha.
Come back and listen to us, or else.